IFG has an interest in technology issues broadly. We have been in our 15 years of history, especially with genetic engineering, but now with the climate crisis, we're seeing a whole new generation of what we call false solutions to the climate and energy crisis that are coming out and coming online. Hi everybody, welcome. Make sure you sign up right here. There's a sheet right there, we can just pass it around. My name is Victor Minotti. I direct the International Forum on Globalization, and I'm just about to introduce our guest. So one of the things that IFG has been doing has been talking about false solutions to the climate and energy crisis. We have a series of publications on them, and we have been very involved in the UN climate negotiations, and particularly in the technology transfer. Maybe two things coming up, two sort of big decisions that are in play right now. I talked a little bit about post-Copenhagen, the UN global climate negotiations. Those will go to Cancun later on this year. One of the big expected outcomes is they possibly could have something decided on technology. So we've been working with Silvia's group in the negotiations to try to introduce the concept of having some kind of mechanism to assess technologies. Systemic technological assessment is something IFG has been talking about for years, and we'd like to see something that actually looks at what are the technologies and promotes the good ones and constrains the bad ones that we don't want to get out there. But to do that, you need some sort of open participatory process that really discloses what are all the costs and benefits to society and ecology of particular technologies. So that's certainly relevant to this discussion. The other is to make something similar happen within US policy. Probably in 2 weeks from now, mid-April, you'll see Senator Kerry and others present what's going to be in the climate bill that the Senate is going to be debating. You may remember the House already passed something, so now it's up to the Senate. And the Senate, which is responsible for approving all treaties, will have a lot to say about what the US position is and what our contribution is to a global climate deal, both in terms of the amount of money we're going to be spending, which is an obligation of the UN Convention, that we finance technology transfer to developing countries. And nothing has really happened yet, so that we need to make that happen. But we want it to be enough money, and we want it to be the right kinds of technologies. So we've got a decision in Washington, and then also a global negotiating table that's very important. Our role here in the Bay Area is a lot of these companies are based here. A lot of the venture capitalists, a lot of the laboratories, a lot of the universities, a lot of the innovators are here. And so we have a special role in making sure that what our country's contribution is to the world in terms of climate technologies is safe and fair.
Etc. Group is Action Group on Erosion, Technology and Concentration, and it's a small international civil society organization based in Canada. We have been tracking the impact of new technologies for reality for 30 years, but our name was RAFI before. There are in geoengineering, this intent to manipulate the climate of the planet is about partly to manage solar radiation, which is what is causing global warming because the gases can't go out. And the other way is trying to sequestrate the gases that are provoking climate change before they get out or when they are out in space. And the third, which is also geoengineering, is called weather manipulation, like trying to control hurricanes and these kind of things. And if my idea was to show, just really in pictures what they are doing, because it's pretty difficult to believe that this is happening, but among the proposals that they are having is, for instance, to create in the solar radiation management is to create a sunshade, like a parasol, or you say so? Well, like an umbrella with sulfides in the stratosphere, the idea is injecting sulfides in the stratosphere into clouds, imitating a volcano eruption. And many people call this like artificial volcanoes, because this is inspired by the volcano eruption of Mount Pinatubo in Philippines, 91, that provoked that during the temperature was lowered by 0.5 degrees during the time that this cloud was deflecting the sun. So they are trying to do this artificially, but to have really any kind of impact on the climate, it has to be for a long time, at least every 2 years you have to inject new sulfides. It has to stay there, and as soon as you take it, you stop doing that, then the sun comes again and you are in the same point. So it's in no way geoengineering is never a solution really. It's just something that you can do to try to to confront some of the immediate problems. This is one of the examples. There are other, like putting mirrors in the space and other kinds, trying what they call to manage solar radiation. We personally think it's a really arrogant way of thinking that you will be able to manage solar radiation. Is a pretty ambitious goal. The other kind of things they are thinking about this is to increase the possibilities of sequestrate greenhouse gases. And one of the most well-known is the so-called ocean fertilization, which is to provoke, to fertilize the oceans with either iron or urea and provoke plankton blooms, sudden plankton blooms that could absorb CO2, absorb carbon dioxide, and then sink it in the ocean. None of this is really proved to function, to be effective. There has been experiments, very, very small experiments on the sulfates in the stratosphere, and also 12, 13 experiments on ocean fertilization. I'm not going to mention many other proposals that are out there, but there are many of them. And the issue is that when we speak about this, many people think that it's like a kind of science fiction. And until 2006, it was considered, even in scientific media, it was also considered as a kind of crazy proposal, something that people that really didn't have anything to do thought about. But in 2006, Paul Crutzen, which is a Nobel Prize laureate, said that he thought it was this about injecting sulfates in the stratosphere. It was viable and it should be done because it has a cost by some millions. But he said still that this was doable, and the reason why scientists are starting to think that geoengineering is necessary is because they don't think that it will be any kind of political agreement to change the situation. So they see this as an emergency. They call it a plan B, the plan B. And this is many of the people that are meeting. You mentioned the Asilomar meeting. Now they were like about more than between 100 and 200 scientists and policymakers and entrepreneurs that were meeting in Asilomar to try to define a kind of governance rules for geoengineering.